So you made it to another video. Hello. Welcome back to Seeing God's Hand with Isheia Allen. Okay. And today we're going to talk about the hard things. We're going to talk about the topics on this channel that most people will not face. They run away from instead of running to them. But these situations and these things are really things that we go through, that the hard conversations, the hard topics that most people don't want to talk about, but that they're necessary for your healing. They're necessary for your growth, and they're necessary for what God wants to do in you, through you, and to you. Not only for you, but for those who He is putting in your path. And I'm going to start this one with me. See, my problem is, and these videos are a true act of obedience because they're really uncomfortable for me. They are something that God has been telling me to do for the past 2 years. And because of life situations, they often fell to the back. And also because of fear of putting myself out there, fear of putting my story out there, fear of, rejection, fear of, more naysayers, fear of other people's opinions has stopped me from doing what God has called and told me to do. It has stopped me and prevented me from walking in my calling and the promises that God has placed on my life, but it stops here. And I'm usually the friend that everyone calls on, where I'm that safe space, but they're also going to call me when they need to hear the truth, when they need to hear the hard things, when they need to be told what it really is. And sometimes, it's not my character, but sometimes God tells me, to tell them things that may hurt, but it's the truth that they need to hear. It's the things that other people won't tell them. And oftentimes, I know that God uses me as a final warning for a lot of situations. If He sends me to you to give you a word, it's usually your final warning before something happens. And I used to struggle with that. I would struggle with, God, why? This is not my personality. This is not who I am. Why are you using me like this? Why are you telling me to tell this person this? Okay. They could have used anyone else, but you're using me to tell them this? Okay. But it's also, and I let that be known. If God is telling me to tell you something, it's your final warning. And usually something does happen if you don't obey. So do what God is telling you to do. And it comes so easily to me to do it for other people. But when it comes to myself, I know that I'm the one that's stopping me. I know that I'm the one that's stopping the progress and the promises that God has given me. I'm the one who's been holding me back because of fear, because of rejection, because of disappointment. But now is the time for it to leave. Now is the time for me to step into what God is calling and telling me to do. So I'm going to have that hard conversation with myself, because it's easy for me to communicate to other people the things that they need to hear, but that they may not want to hear. But it's like, how can I do it for everyone else if I'm not doing it for myself? The whole healing journey, God has put me on a path so that I'm able to walk it out myself. And in the midst of it, help those who are around me, help those who He is putting into my life, help those who He has called me to pour into. But for me, it's like, if you can do it for everyone else, so why can't you do it for yourself? So today I'm going to have the hard conversation with myself. I'm going to start with myself. Before I start with you, I'm going to start with me. I'm going to start having a hard conversation with Isheia. Okay? Just like I would have the conversation with anyone else. This is going to be so funny. But, I'm going to ask myself the hard questions and I'm going to respond to myself. But I'm responding to you. Okay? But you're going to see this live and in action. So here we go. You have a calling on your life. You know what God has told you. You know what He has told you to do. You're able to see that God has sustained you all of this time. You are able to see that even through the difficult moments and times that God has been right there by your side, and that everything that you have been through was for a reason. So why can't you believe the promises that God has given you? Why can't you step into the purpose and the person that God has created you to be? What's holding you back? You have the words, you have the products, you have the brain. Anything that you need to know, you figure it out. But what's holding you back? What's holding you down from stepping out? Stepping out into the water and stepping out on faith. What's holding you back? And my honest question, it's me. I know that my problem is me. I know that I'm the one that's holding me back. I know that I'm capable of doing everything that God has called me to be. I've seen it. I know the promises. I know where my life is heading. But because of right now, my life doesn't seem like it's, because I can't see the pieces, because I can't see what God is doing in the background, because God told me this, and what's going on right now does not look like that. I struggle with believing. I struggle with believing that God will use me, this person who, has never really felt like she even had an identity outside of everyone else. This person who has gone through pain and trauma. This person who has, been through so much, even on the faith walk in this journey with God. Why would God want to use me? Why would He want to use me? All my life I've heard that I'm different. All my life I felt feelings and emotions, of feeling unworthy. All of my life I felt the rejection, the hurt, the pain, the always wanting to be loved but never feeling loved. And it's always felt like it was repeatedly over and over and over again the same situation, where I'm disappointed from one situation to the next, where none of it makes sense to me and I'm not receiving what I want. I'm afraid because I'm afraid of hurting those who have even hurt me. I'm afraid I'm already vulnerable, but to be extremely vulnerable to the point where some people, I know some people won't understand. But now it's the time for me to start having the hard conversations, with myself. Isheia, I don't know what's holding you back. I don't know why you're letting the enemy control you. I don't know why you're letting the fear of being rejected control you. You're letting the thoughts and the opinions, or the potential thoughts and opinions, because they haven't even come about yet. You're letting that... One second. Oh, okay. You're letting that hold you back. You're letting that keep you from the promises that God has for you. You know who you are. You know what God has told you. You know that there is more for you. But you're going to let the chatter, you're going to let the naysayers, you're going to let the voices of people around you, you're going to let those who aren't even obedient to God tell you how to be obedient to God. You're going to let those who don't have an intimate relationship with God tell you, what you're doing right from wrong, that it's not God that's telling you to do this and that, but it is. He has shown you, that you're able to do what you're supposed to do, but you're not doing it because you have fear. But how can you have fear for something that God has told you when if he's told you it has already happened? But yet you're letting you be stuck in your mind. You're letting the thoughts and the opinions of other people. You are letting the trauma and the hurt and the pain that you have been through in the past hold you back. You're letting the disappointments hold you back. When that's not what God promised you, so who says that that is what's ahead of you? You're living in the past. You're being stuck in Egypt. When God has told you to go forth. God has told you what to do. God has... You know that you know that you know that you know what's on your life. You know that you know that you know that you know what's to come. But because you're feeling unworthy, because you have let the trauma that you have faced interfere with your thoughts, you're letting the enemy keep you captive. You're letting the enemy get in your head and tell you lies, and you're believing them. And why do you not truly believe God? What is making you not truly believe God when you know him? You know how he communicates with you. You know the calling that's on your life. You know the people that you're supposed to help. You know. It's so funny. This is all God making me do this. But you know, girl, what is wrong with you? You know what God has told you, what he has promised you, what's to come. The thing that you don't know is how you're going to get there. The thing that you don't know is the steps that he's going to take. The thing that you don't know is the reason why you have to trust God. Because it's not for you to know. It's for God to know. And it's for you to move in obedience. It is for you to move in faith. It is for you to do the things that God has called you to do so that you're able to impact the people that God has called you to impact. It is for you to move out of your way. It is for you to move out of God's way so that he can do what he needs to do. It is a choice. You're either going to stay stuck. You're either going to stay stuck in the situations, in the circumstances that you don't like. You're going to stay stuck in the past. You're going to stay stuck in the trauma. Or you're going to choose God. You're going to choose the things that he has told you. You're going to choose the things that he has promised you. You are going to choose what you know that you know that you know is to come. So at a point, you can't pray for God to take it away. You can't pray for God to, just surrender your life to him and just become this robot. Because you can pray, God, I wish you can just, make it happen. Just use me. Just use me as your vessel. I want no parts. If you can just make it happen, just make it happen. But the truth is that God won't do that. The truth is that God is a God of love and he is a gentleman. And even if you say that you're surrendering, even if you say that you're okay with God just doing what he wants to do, he won't do that. God won't do that because he is a God of love. And if you don't have a choice, you literally become a robot. You become a robot and you're just literally living just to live. There's no purpose in that. But God is a God that gives you a choice. God is a God that it's up to you. It's up to you to move past the hurt, the pain, the disappointments. It's up to you to take that next step, to jump deep into the deep end. It's up to you to go after what he has called you to do. It is up to you to choose him. It is up to you to move in faith and obedience, even if you don't know the how, the why. because I'm a person that likes to know A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and how it's going to get me to Z. But that's not faith. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing comes by the word of God. And we walk by faith. We walk by faith. We don't walk by sight. And sometimes you won't know the answer. You won't know the whys. You won't know the hows. All you have to do is know the who. And God is waiting on you to choose him and choose the life that he has promised you. God is waiting on you to be who he has called and created you to be, because your life is not about you. It is about those who he has called and created you to help while you're here. It's because you have to choose to walk into the kingdom assignment that God has for you. It is for you to move in faith and step out so that you're able to fulfill your purpose. It is for you to be who God called and created you to be. But first, you have to move out of your way. I know my problem is me. I know my problem is limiting beliefs because of past situations that I have been through. I know that my problem is disappointments, and I've had this conversation with God recently. God, sometimes this walk does not feel easy. Sometimes this walk is really hard. Sometimes this walk is extremely uncomfortable. And I've been disappointed by humans. I've been disappointed by family, by friends, by people. I've sometimes even feel like I might be a disappointment because my life doesn't look like what the world thinks it should look like. My life doesn't look like, what I think it should look like. God has had me on this faith walk for, soon as we started our real intimate relationship. And it has not been anything that I would have chosen. But I'm choosing God. And I'm choosing to be obedient to what he's telling me to do, even if it doesn't make sense to me or anyone around me. I'm choosing the process. And it's not easy. But sometimes you have to choose to obey God. You have to choose what he's calling you to do. And sometimes you will be disappointed along the way. And because of, things that I have heard, things that were spoken over me, sometimes I'm like, God, I don't want to do this because I don't feel like I know enough. I'm a logical thinker. Sometimes I feel like if I don't have the foundation up under me, that I don't know what I'm doing. So why would I move? Well, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to do. I don't have the blueprint. But you're not going to have the blueprint, God says. But sometimes I need to know what it is that I need to do. Sometimes I need to know what it is that I need to say. But God says, I'm going to speak through you. I'm going to move through you. But sometimes I'm like, God, I don't want to be a disappointment to you. Because I feel like I'm a disappointment to those who are around me, those who don't understand you or what you're doing in my life. Sometimes I feel like a disappointment to myself because I see my circumstances and I see that they're not what you have told me. And God, the math isn't mathing of how I'm supposed to get to where you said that I'm supposed to get to. Sometimes I'm like, God, I don't want to move. How can I move if I don't know where to move? How can I move if I don't know the exact things that you need me to do and say? I'm just moving to move. And God, I don't want to be a disappointment to you because sometimes, honestly, I feel like a disappointment. And God is saying, My child, go and do what I have told you to do. You don't have to know the who. You don't have to know the why. You don't have to know the details. All you have to do is just like you were doing in this video. You open up your mouth and I will speak through you. You walk into these rooms that I am positioning you in, and you be who I have called and created you to be. You be that light that I have made you. You be that voice for the people who feel unseen, who feel unheard, those people who have been hurt by family members, those people who have had trauma, church trauma, or church hurt, those people who do struggle with their identity, those people who do struggle and don't know how to see me past what they have experienced. All you have to do is walk. All you have to do is move. All you have to do is be. And I will use you as my temple. I will use you as my vessel to go out and reach those who don't feel seen, who have experienced what you have experienced. Those people who are literally a shell of themselves. Those people who have felt like they have never been heard. Those people who feel like they have never been seen. Those people who are crying out and feel like they don't know which way to go. Those people who are questioning everything. Those people who are questioning their life. Those people who are questioning me as in why. Those people who are going down the wrong path because they're searching for answers that only I can give them. You have to be that person. You have to be that vessel. There are people waiting on you. There are people waiting on you for your words, even if you don't understand, even if you don't know. I know. So let me use you. Okay, God. Sometimes we have to have the hard conversations with ourselves. And sometimes God will start revealing us to us. So that we're able to break down those walls, break down those barriers that may be, holding us back. Those areas that may feel uncomfortable. The situations that you don't know how they're going to end. God knows. So all you have to do is trust him. All you have to do is have that faith walk. So this is my hard conversation with myself. It's literally how I talk to everyone else. So sometimes you gotta do it to yourself. For God to speak to you through you, it's okay. But I definitely want to start helping people heal. I want to start helping people get past their trauma, get past their thoughts, get past the limiting beliefs, get past the disappointment and the pain and the things that they have gone through in life so that God is able to use them the way that he needs to. So that they're able to execute their kingdom assignment and fulfill God's purpose for their life. This channel will be about, a lot of it will be about seeing God's hand in the details and me telling my journey and my story of how God was even unveiling trauma in me so that I could rebuild my life. I could remove the limiting beliefs, remove all of the pain, remove all of the things that are not of him, remove the experiences that I have been through so that he is able to me and through me rebuild my life the way that he had it, the way that he planned for it to be, and rebuild my life so that I'm able to heal, so that I'm able to heal others, so that we're then able to rebuild our intimate relationship with God. So at the end of the day, we become leaders, and that we are able to go build other leaders, able to go out and heal others. Because we've been through the processes, we've been through the pain, we've been through the trials and the tribulations, but what are you going to do with it? Are you going to live with it? Are you going to get stuck in it? Or are you going to use it for God's glory? Are you going to use it to not only heal yourself, to be a generational curse breaker, but to heal and use it so that you're able to go help others heal, so that you're able to make an impact in this world, so that you're able to let those who need to be seen, those who need to be heard, and for you to tell your story for God to get the glory out of it. So, this one was funny. But if you enjoyed it, this is complete surrender. This is what complete surrender looks like, because, I'm being real vulnerable with this. And God has been waiting for me to do this for a long time, but I've been running from it. But now I have to run towards it. And you do too. It is time to move past the hurt, move past the trauma, and run fast forward into what and who God has called and created you to be and do. So we're going to do this together. We in this together now because, we stuck. But if you have not liked, followed, subscribed, even shared it with someone who may need to hear it, do that, please. There will be more conversations and more, in-depth conversations of my story, of my journey, of healing, of transforming, and of becoming who God has called and created me to be, so that I'm able to help others. This is only the beginning. But yeah, I thank you for your time. And until another one. Bye.